For thousands of years, we've basically been asking the same question. Why is life so often a struggle? Is there a way to find some real lasting peace? Well, today, we're going to crack open an ancient playbook that claims to have the answer, a path to, the end of suffering.
Okay, let's just dive right in. These ancient texts, they don't mess around with gentle platitudes. Nope, they start with a cold, hard truth. I mean, it's a blunt, almost brutal place to start, but you have to admit, it's honest. It grounds this whole investigation in a reality that not a single one of us can escape.
So what is this suffering they're talking about? Because let me tell you, it's a lot bigger and a lot more subtle than just, stubbing your toe.
What's really fascinating here is just how broad this definition is. Of course, you've got the big stuff: old age, illness, death. No surprises there. But look closer. It's also the sorrow, the sadness, and that constant low-grade frustration of not getting what you want. The texts just brilliantly roll all of this up into one big idea: this fundamental unsatisfactoriness that comes from being a self that's always grasping at a world that's always changing.
Okay, so we've got a diagnosis of the problem. But, a diagnosis is pretty useless if you don't know the cause. And these texts, they point to one single, really powerful culprit.
So the crucial point is this: the root cause is craving, and it's described as an insatiable thirst. It's this relentless drive for more pleasure, this desperate need for our own existence to keep going, and sometimes even the wish for it all to just stop. This is the engine that's always running, the thing that fuels the whole cycle.
And the metaphors they use to describe this, they're just fantastic. Right here, craving is like an invasive weed that just completely takes over your garden when you're not paying attention. It keeps you jumping from one desire to the next, like a monkey scrambling for more fruit, never ever satisfied.
And this one brilliantly illustrates the trap we're in. Even when we hate parts of ourselves, our own identity, we get stuck. The very act of trying to run away from the problem keeps us tethered to it. It's like a dog on a leash, just running in these endless, exhausting circles around the very post it's trying to escape.
So the million-dollar question is, how do you break the leash? Down through the ages, people have tried all sorts of things. But according to these texts, a lot of the most obvious paths are actually dead ends.
A really key mistake was this path of extreme self-punishment. The idea that you could literally burn away your problems through grueling physical hardship. The Buddha, who had actually tried this himself, rejected it completely. He said it just leads to exhaustion, not wisdom. His alternative? A middle way. Not tormenting yourself, but understanding yourself. Using mindfulness to see clearly what's happening right here, right now, and getting to the real root of it all.
And this brings us to the actual how-to guide, the practical solution. If fighting your own body and mind doesn't work, what does? Well, the answer is a clear, systematic training.
The path is laid out as this threefold training, where each part builds directly on the one before it. You can think of it like building a house. First, you need a solid foundation, then you build a structure, and only then can you see clearly from inside it.
You start with the foundation, ethics. This is really about cleaning up your actions, giving up things that cause harm, like lying or harsh speech. And the point isn't just about being a good person. It's about creating a mind that's free from guilt and agitation. You just can't do deep inner work if your outer life is a complete mess.
So on that stable foundation, you build the house itself. And this quote, it just nails it. An undeveloped mind is like a house with a leaky roof. Lust, anger, anxiety, all that stuff just seeps right in. Step 2, mindfulness, is the practice of building a well-roofed mind. It's not about stopping the rain. It's about becoming so resilient that the rain doesn't get in and ruin everything.
And with that solid, well-roofed mind, you can finally see clearly. And that's step 3, wisdom. And this is the real game changer. It's not about learning facts from a book. It's a direct aha moment of insight. It's seeing for yourself that everything you cling to, your body, your feelings, your very identity, is always changing and ultimately not a solid thing to hold on to. This is the insight that cuts the root of craving.
So what's the payoff for all this work? I mean, where does this path ultimately lead? The texts don't just give a simple definition. They offer a whole series of beautiful, powerful metaphors for a state of really profound freedom.
It's described as being unyoked, finally free from all the internal burdens and bindings, the anxieties, the attachments that weigh you down.
It's like having a poisoned dart
The dart of craving finally pulled from your heart so the wound can actually heal.
It's even compared to a snake shedding its old skin, a complete letting go of all attachments, all shores, just leaving it all behind.
The mind, which was once burning with the fevers of greed and hate, becomes cooled. The fires are out.
And that burning thirst that drove this whole thing in the first place, it is finally quenched.
And just in case you think this is all just ancient poetry, listen to this. It's a first-person declaration from someone who actually walked the path. I am cooled, quenched. That's not philosophy. That's a report from the finish line. A statement of a lived, achievable human potential.
Which leaves us with a pretty provocative question, doesn't it? We live in a world that is basically a machine designed to create thirst, to constantly tell you that you need more. So in the middle of all that noise, what would it even feel like to be truly, completely quenched?